Hi, welcome. Thank you for being here to this very much impromptu, out of the blue reading. I only have one deck of cards with me here in my purse, and I do have my fun baton, so at least we have some fun lighting going on, but I feel like there's, I don't know, like a message that needs to be heard very much right away. I feel like somebody's really confused, or somebody is knowing that the time is running out, or they need to make a decision, or they're just really worried about, I'm getting the next step. So maybe somebody's behavior is confusing you. I don't know what's going on, but let's see. This reading's timeless and collective. See what feels like it fits, and always follow and trust the divine guidance in you to your higher self. You know, that direct connection you have to God, to source, to the universe. The answer is in you, and try to make balanced decisions between logic and intuition. So your decisions are sound. They're based in love for the highest, greatest good of everybody. So we're all uplifted in love. Let's see. We're God, source, Holy Spirit, grace, consciousness, our higher selves, angels and energies of love, have for the highest, greatest good of all. What is your energy right now? What is the energy currently of the collective that's watching this reading? What is the current energy of you? Feeling a little uneasy, a little confused, like you want to feel at peace in a decision. Maybe you're trying to find a peaceful resolution, but somebody's kind of keeping you on the edge. Because this came out upside down. So upside down, the Four of Swords to me is where in your immediate environment, you feel like you always have to put on a front, wear a mask, or be wearing some medieval armor. So you're never really in that peaceful tranquility. It's like, I feel like you've been interrupted, or, you know, you had this peaceful energy or thing that you were working on. It could even be a project, and it's like you keep getting interrupted, and I feel like you're getting more irritated with that. So I do feel like you want to flip this situation around and find your little tranquil place where you can meditate, where you can heal, where you're kind of just by yourself. But in that particular card, I feel like you do want somebody in your space with you. I feel like there's somebody you don't want in your space, and there's somebody you do want in your space. There's somebody who brings in uneasiness to your energy, and there's someone else that makes you feel at ease. So why is the Four of Swords here? Tell us about the Four of Swords. I feel like this person, whoever it is waiting. Maybe that's why you're uneasy. Maybe you were waiting for someone. You know, if you were kind of sitting there and somebody never showed up. I feel like somebody had trouble. I want to say somebody had trouble getting out of a weird environment, and it actually had nothing to do with them not wanting to be with you. I feel like somebody wanted to be with you. They wanted to be there, but something happened. Maybe that's the other person that kept getting irritated. Because I see the waves at the beach. It's like they wanted to catch the right wave. They always thought it was that next wave, or this is the right wave. And I don't know why I see something getting deflated. Like I'm thinking of Rose when she humped her pink floaty to death. So I feel like somebody's energy maybe keeps getting deflated. I feel like somebody's getting their hopes up here, and then they're kind of disappointed. But that maybe that's you and somebody else. What is this? The Three of Pentacles. Because there's somebody you want to build with. There's somebody you work really well with here. And I always feel like the Three of Pentacles is where somebody really values your time, your effort, your energy, your attention. And if there was a place where you or whoever this is was not valued, where it wasn't really building, it's like you guys were both supposed to be working on a project together, but you're reading two different instructions, or you're building two different things, and something's actually not growing. It does look like somebody wants to give somebody a hand here, like a boost. But I feel like whoever was looking at something on ground level wants to see something from a different perspective. It looks like this guy is actually offering her a branch. So maybe it is Because sometimes this is peace. Maybe it is somebody offering a peaceful resolution. I feel like somebody's really looking at maybe their work environment as well. It could be where somebody always has a mask on around people that are kind of just acquaintances, you know, people you work with, but there's not really a real friendship. I feel like maybe there's one person you met at work and you want to build, I'm getting that you want to build something with them, or they want to build something with you. So why is, wow, that was quick. Why is the Three of Pentacles? I feel like somebody wants to build on a peaceful partnership or relationship. Yeah, they do. It has something to do with work, because now you have the Eight of Pentacles. So the Eight of Pentacles is maybe where you do have to give a little extra effort in the beginning to get better at something. Because you don't get this growth immediately. When the Eight of Pentacles is here, maybe the first time you go on a date or the first time you start to build that project or put something together, it doesn't go so well. But then the next time you get a little better, you know, you learn from your mistakes. It is also that apprentice energy. So sometimes it is going back to school, working on a project by yourself. I almost feel like maybe even for some of you, you had a conversation here, either at work or about something you are working on. And maybe because you have, you know, this four of, you know, it's like the Four of Swords, where you want to just kind of be in your own space, working on your own thing. Maybe there is a place where you don't really work well together, but you can really accomplish a lot by yourself. But maybe you had a conversation here with somebody that knows how hard you work, or how good you are, or how talented, you know, you are at something, or how much you want to try something. And they kind of encourage you to do it. Sign up for that class. I do feel like if that's the case and you start something on your own, later on, you're going to have helpful people around you that are going to, whether it's just encourage, you know, your project, encourage maybe even a partnership if they see how you work well with a certain person. But I feel like the right people are going to, I just heard validate, that it's the right place to be, or the right person to be with, or the right project to put your attention into. With the Eight of Pentacles, it is sometimes where you do, where can I put these cards? I'm going to put them up here. I can't see anything. It is where sometimes you have to give a little extra in the beginning. You know, if an apprentice is getting all the education, but they're not really making the big buckos yet, it doesn't mean that that education's not going to grant them, you know, great success or abundance later on. But sometimes you gotta be able to give a little to get a lot later. Why is, it's also, I feel like it's something you need to, I just heard squeeze in. I don't know why I just thought of the band Squeeze. Pulling muscles from the shell. Muscles from the shell. That's such a weird song. Maybe you felt like maybe somebody pulled a muscle at work. I mean, that's quite like just literal as a message. Or I'm getting that like maybe something felt like you were putting a lot of effort in it, but it felt like you were just like pulling teeth, or it wasn't getting anywhere. But maybe there's something that's a lot easier once you get it open, once you get something started. I am getting with the Eight of Pentacles that maybe it does take some spiritual muscle, you know, a little elbow grease on something. But I'm also getting, with the Four of Swords, it's mental clarity. So maybe somebody had to be mentally clear about something that's going to take a little effort. Clarify. Eight of, I keep hearing that song now. If you've never heard that song, it's kind of fun, but it's definitely a weird one to pop through. I'm going to ask about specifically the Eight of Pentacles. Why is the Eight of Pentacles here? This one. The Eight of Pentacles is here because somebody is keeping something a secret, or somebody is feeling an emotional kind of way and they're not expressing it. Even this cat is going up to the roof to take a look at the moon, to be, you know, by themselves. Maybe they are meeting that other cat that's hanging out by the chimney up there, but maybe they don't know someone's kind of lurking in the shadows. I feel like somebody keeps I'm getting invading somebody's space, honestly. Like you just want some alone time, and every time you like try to go to the bathroom, or you want to hang out on the porch, and you're like, okay, I'm not getting any alone time here. I just need to think. And they're like, I'll go to the roof. At least up there on the roof, no one knows I'm going to be there. And then someone's like, what are you doing? What's over here? So I am kind of getting, I'm not sure why I get that with the moon energy, but I'm kind of getting that maybe somebody really needs attention, or somebody's afraid of how somebody emotionally feels. So that can be, I don't know why I heard cunning. And I'm getting weird messages, guys. I do feel like somebody is maybe emotionally unstable, but underneath the surface of a situation, they are trying to keep control over someone or something, or that could just be you or someone else, like really feeling a lot and trying to kind of push it down, not address the truth of a matter. But it's also following your intuition, following that gut feeling. If something doesn't feel right, if somebody always feels like they're, right behind you or in your space or asking you funny questions. I do feel like maybe with this moon, you need to keep silent on something you might be working on, or who you might be working with. And I'm getting a little bit of distance because the moon is kind of far away. So I do feel like some of you need to maybe create some distance, especially if this was a weird emotional situation. I am not getting that it's like having the deep lovey feelings about something. I'm getting that this makes you feel awkward. It could be that somebody's keeping how they truly feel about wanting to work with somebody like a secret, but it does look like the clouds are going to clear. The night sky is going to clearly show that big old moon, and somebody's even trying to get closer to what that emotional situation is. I feel like this, yeah, I'm getting different messages, so I hope this is helpful for you guys. You see that cat kind of up there? Kind of looks like they're hanging on the roof, this one. I feel like this cat, or you, it's a cat here, so we're going to go with that, has a little secret place that they go to where they feel like they can just bring up their little project or think, or, just be alone, and somebody like followed them. I am getting kind of a nosy energy, but they weren't revealing themselves. And I feel like maybe there were a couple of weeks where they were hidden in plain sight, and now all of a sudden somebody who was, I don't know, trying to do something in secret is being revealed. I do feel like if somebody was keeping a secret, it needs to come to light, or somebody needs to see the truth in that situation, or something is going to be found out. I'm not sure what that is. Why is the moon here? That's actually a big energy. Following your intuition, but also combining it with instinct. Now you got the King of Cups. Somebody's feeling really emotional. This is a masculine energy here, nurturing a lot of children. So maybe this is a masculine energy that's focused on his children. This is somebody who is emotionally stable. It's not somebody who always reveals exactly how they feel, although usually energetically you can kind of get the hint, because it's somebody stable. They know that not every place is the ideal place to speak about how they're really feeling, but when the time is right, and I'm getting the feeling is big, maybe this is somebody who's having big feelings about someone. I do get that this particular king actually has a nice balance between his masculine and feminine side. He knows when to like put on the pants, put on the suit, pursue something, but he also knows how to tap into that nurturing energy here. If the king is upside down, it is somebody who's not very stable in their emotions. They have a lot to say and they never say it, and I feel like they feel a lot, But if they're always keeping it contained, that's going to be like the moon. It's going to sneak up at the wrong time or become kind of overwhelming. Let me look at all these together. It could also be that this King of Cups absolutely feels a lot about a situation, an environment, or a person, but they just continually put themselves to work, which is the equivalent of pushing that emotional ball back into their belly, back into the feels, back under the ocean. It doesn't mean those feels aren't there. It's sometimes a water sign. It is somebody kind of intuitive and psychic. Let me see. Why is the King of Cups here? Tell us about the King of Cups specifically. What is this? Yeah, the King of Cups is holding on to his emotions. Holding on to a specific environment or something that he was working on. It could also be that somebody is holding on to this King of Cups because of, I don't know, it's kind of a smothering energy. It is somebody that's all up in your beeswax, man, because the Four of Pentacles is like the one that wants to be the emperor, but they'll never achieve it because they're kind of hoarding energy or hoarding their environment so much that there's no flow. You know, it's somebody that wants stability, but they're either bringing too much in and not letting anything out, or letting it all out and not bringing anything stable in. This could be a financial situation. You do have a lot of pentacles here. So I am sort of getting there might be somebody holding on to a, I mean, if this is kind of like a straight up kind of guy here. It looks like he just got home from work and now he's playing with the kids. It could be somebody that needs to play more. If there's all of this work energy and somebody does need to tap into their inner child and have a little more fun. Because here it's like somebody was so afraid that somebody else would get all those apples. That little porcupine stuck the rest of the apples in their hair to make sure no one gets close. No one can have those apples. You know, it's somebody that's always afraid that something's going to be lost. So they just latch on to something. You know, they have their clenches in something. But it could be that somebody is clenching on to the idea that they want to work with a certain person or environment. And those emotions are so big, they're not going away. But they have to do something about it, not just sit on it. So if it's upside down, it could also be where somebody is finally giving a little space, or I am getting a sharing energy, but I feel like somebody wasn't willing to share before, and yet they have plenty. I'm kind of getting somebody who's a little bit selfish. And I'm kind of getting somebody else that is maybe recognizing somebody's selfish energy. Somebody is, let me see this, hold on. Because it does look like this porcupine has a book. What are they doing? They have 3 apples in their hand, 1 shoved in their mouth, a bunch in their head, and sitting on something else. This person has more than they need, but I feel like this is somebody that always needs more or thinks they do. Let's clarify. Why is the 4 of Pentacles here? 4 of Pentacles. Tell us about who this is. Oh yeah, somebody's selfish. That's exactly what I saw. You got the Devil here. Somebody is maybe holding all, I don't know why I just heard trying to hold all the cards, or I don't know, I'm even getting like trying to possess somebody's time, or wanting to, I don't know, with this they want all the work to be for them. This is somebody who's learning to see what energies are not healthy, and learning to look that devil in the face and say, yeah, what? You think you have power over me? Not going to happen anymore. You know, because this devil just kind of looks like a goofy puss. You know, it's somebody that thinks they're all powerful, but they're always giving away their power by this over sense of control, or trying to manipulate a situation, or trying to use a little temptation and dangle the carrot. But there's always like the fine print that, you know, somebody's giving something, they think they're getting something amazeballs, and they didn't read the fine print in that situation to see that it's not exactly what the contract said. This is somebody who's manipulative, they're obsessive, but not in a healthy way. This is somebody creating illusions. Like, I'm getting like I hear grandeur. Like they're promising these big grandeur gifts that you can get if only you sign here. And it's like, there's something kind of shady. It's like, yeah, it's like maybe you're showing, you know, putting on this good show and you're like levitating that girl there. Oh, I just thought of that song, Levitating. That is a really good song. I'll put that below. But I feel like there's strings attached. Way too many strings attached in this situation. And I feel like it's all smoke and mirrors. It's not the, you know, there's all these weird energies around this magician. I feel like somebody actually is in a really, I am getting this. Maybe this is why this message needed to come through. I'm not getting that this is your energy. If this is your energy, you are starting to notice the strings. You are starting to look what was fearful for you, you know, or to you in the past, dead in the eye, and taking back your power, man. You know, but I kind of feel like this is maybe somebody else's energy. I don't know who this is, but I feel like you're going to smell them from a mile away. You're going to feel that energy is funky. You're going to see that that's smoke and mirrors, that it's like a parlor trick here. I don't know why it's the devil, but I'm kind of getting a little of the upside down magician kind of energy, because it's like they're putting on a little magic show. But if somebody's trying to manipulate anything, you're already stripping your own power. You're also already stripping your own direct connection to the divine. Because when you're tapped into true spiritual energy, there's allowance, there's faith, there's trust. And when you receive answers because it's for the highest and greatest good of all, it's not in the ego. It's not always what you want to hear. This is somebody that wants what they want. And, you know, they're going to go to weird tactics, or even, I'm getting minimalize their power, but they think they're powerful. They're not, because they're giving their power away to lower vibrations to get something. And you know what that does? I feel like this person's going to have something come back and really bite them in the ass. They're going to live, you know, they're going to have to go through a heavy karmic lesson. You know, you don't mess around with people. You don't emotionally manipulate people. You don't try to manipulate energy. And it's interesting because I was even listening to something on, it was on telepathy and telekinesis. And you can't, let's just say it's telekinesis here, which is our gifts innately in us as humans. That's not a superpower. That is something we all have. We all have that. You know, it's somewhere in the core of our soul, the chrysalis of our DNA, that we are psychic. You know, we are all connected energetically. But if you want to do something like telekinesis, you don't let's just say you do one of those things. You fold up the little tinfoil thing and you stick it on the pin, and you're going to try to get it to spin around. You don't force it to spin around. You're not going to try to blow something in the air. You have to actually tap into qigong energy. You become one with the thing you are working with. You're not overpowering it. It's not going to work. You have to literally like merge your energies with that piece of paper or tinfoil, or if you're doing like aerokinesis and you're working with the winds, whatever it is, you actually become one with that, with those elements, with those molecules. It's not forcing something. It doesn't work like that. So I am getting that somebody was trying to force something to happen, or gave their power away, being promised, you know, big things. But then there's something that, I don't know. I just get that somebody is going to go through a really hard lesson if they thought that manipulating is the tactic to get what they want. Now, if this is upside down, it can be somebody releasing their obsession, releasing the need to overly control somebody's emotions, or where they want to put their time and energy and effort. It could be somebody that recognizes that if they're unhealthy energies, they just want to be at peace in their soul, you know, in alignment with God, the, you know, source, the universe, with a higher power. And it could also be that somebody is breaking the chains, releasing unhealthy attachments. That could even be the overdoing it for some of you, you know, or whoever this is. It's the too much, you know, too much coffee. You know, you're going to be running in circles and not be able to sleep later. Too much gym. You never have time to. Where's your Four of Swords? Take a rest so your muscles aren't going to really build up until you actually hit sleep. Your muscles aren't going to build when you're doing the pumps. It's when you stop and rest that you have, you know, the muscle fibers fix themselves and grow. So there has to be balance. This is definitely where somebody was not in balance. But there, I feel like somebody's desiring to be. If you're recognizing sour energies here, I feel like you're just not giving it attention, not giving it your power, and distancing yourself accordingly. And that could also be what somebody else is finally figuring out. Because I go back to that cat. I feel like there was something, somebody was trying to like be sly and slick, but they weren't really. There's so much red in there. I feel like somebody's kind of gonna be caught red-handed. Or I don't know, I kind of feel like there's going to be a spiritual stripping of what they thought was their power by like God, you know, angels. But I feel like somebody's like going backwards. They were supposed to learn a karmic lesson and they didn't. So where they could have been progressing, they've actually fallen way behind. It's not just a do-over. It's like they had to go back a couple grades now. So let's clarify the devil, because that is a weird one. But I'm getting with that strength, the, you know, badass, amazing energy of the Capricorn, that somebody is gaining their strength, feeling empowered, and finally making the changes necessary for freedom. Because the devil's lack of freedom, sitting there in chains, you know, accepting that something has to be a certain way when it doesn't, or having somebody believe because they were told that you have to stay stuck. That's how it is. I have you in chains. You can't go. And it's like, nah, there's a key right there. Oh, I just heard the key is prayer. What is going on with the energy, guys? All right, let's get one more. I just want to clarify the devil. Oh, you got a match here. You got the King and Queen of Cups. All right, so let's look at this both ways. I do feel like there is a match. I feel like with the King and Cups, the King and Queen of Cups here, there are two people very psychic. There are two people that are maybe drawn to each other because they have similarities or have gone through similar situations. Let me look at this card specifically. This Queen of Cups, I mean, she looks beautiful. I mean, it's like Venus energy. You know, she has to know how beautiful she is, know who is, who values how deeply she feels, and who respects her need to follow her heart and really hear her intuition, because she hears it loud and clear. But I am getting that. I feel like two people really love each other. They want to open up to each other. Maybe the moon, they haven't yet. Maybe these are two people that not only have deep love for each other, but are receiving signs to, I don't know, find each other again. There's a pillow here. Somebody's like comfortable with being grounded with this person. The Queen of Cups also like, you know, Scorpio, Cancer, Pisces, but that can be somebody's rising sign. That can be their Venus sign. That can just be the energy somebody's embodying right now, where they're just really in their feels, in their hearts. If this is somebody that is so much in their feels that they're not being logical, you do have to get a little grounded. You have all this pentacle energy here. But I looked at all these both ways. So if this is this way, it takes such a beautiful energy with that queen of what she can be, because she's upright now, emotionally stable. She's genuine. She's open-hearted. She's the one you want to tell all your secrets to. She's beautiful and romantic and sexy. You know, you want to kiss her. You want to take her out on a date. You want her to be there with her children. You want to have children with her. You want to play with her too, you know, because I kind of see her as like, I don't know why I see her laughing, but let's look at her upside down. Because if this queen is upside down, I don't like her. I don't like her vibe. I don't like her energy, because she manipulates other people's emotions. She fucks with how people feel to get what she wants. And that's no bueno in my book, you know, because she can feel other people's energy. So she uses that to her advantage. She can be somebody who, I don't know, cries the big, oh, Lois, you have to save me. Little old me, I don't know how to do it. This always happens to me. I'm getting like somebody kind of like, you know, they play the crying card, but they know that gets them what they want. It's not a genuine cry. It's an ego hurt. Or it could be somebody that even does the opposite. You know, they don't show any emotion at all, but the underlying emotion of why they are doing it is their driving force. But it's also somebody upside down. It's only upside down now, so just be aware of this. It could be somebody that uses whatever tactics they want, little strings that they want to pull, little pokes, you know, at someone to kind of get them to emotionally feel off. Or I don't know why I see somebody poking and like draining somebody's energy. It's not quite the same as messing just with somebody's mind, but it could be that somebody is using the emotions of maybe how they feel about kids. I mean, there's kids here to, in turn, get what they want. But if this queen is by the devil upside down, that's not good intentions. If this queen is around the devil and she is upright, she's strong enough to face that devil, to not allow any energies in that don't value how beautiful her soul is, how deep her love is. I just heard the Bee Gees. I like that came through. I'm getting all intense in this reading. How deep is your love? Is your love? How deep is your love? I like that. We got a little disco here. You know, when she's upright, she knows she's beautiful. She knows how, you know, how strong her heart is. But if she's upright, the Queen of Cups doesn't want to make somebody feel a certain way about her or him. She knows to only allow those that value her in, but she also knows if there's somebody that she truly cares about, because it would be unconditional love, she wants that person to have the freedom to really decide, not hold them there to make them feel a certain way because it's what she wants. Now we're in that ego thing. So it could be that this is somebody that had to have a lot of emotional strength to let somebody go. It could also be somebody had to have the emotional strength to cut something weird ass off over here, or maybe even distance themselves from, if this is upside down, somebody who maybe felt a lot but never opened up. Never put the energy or the effort or the work in. Maybe that was a hard thing to let go of, especially if the feels were deep. But there's something where somebody's inner peace means more. I'm getting that somebody had to really learn to value and love themselves. So let's get one more. We're just going to take what is at the bottom. I just thought this was going to be like a quick little like 10-minute reading. So let's just take what the foundational extra message is from the, what is this? The Four of Swords, King of Cups, Queen of Cups, 8 of Pentacles, 3 of Pentacles, Four of Pentacles. This has something to do with somebody's everyday world. Something in the Moon and the Devil. How somebody is making different decisions, releasing toxic energies, moving in a different direction. And it has to do with either somebody's job or their home or their family or their everyday environment, where they place their energy every day in. And it looks like something big needs to change. Or is. So, one more. What is the foundational energy? What is this? The Five of Swords. Oh, okay. So this is what you guys need to hear. There's somebody that is somebody's a manipulator, even if they do it with, you know, it's that energy where nice is not the same thing as good. You know, somebody can be the happy neighbor, you know, all pleasant and smiles, but they can have foul intentions. Now you do have somebody who's playing with somebody's mind and their heart. Because the Five of Swords is somebody who wants to just win at all costs. Doesn't matter how they win. They're just going to win. But are they? Really, are they? Because in the Five of Swords, there's always somebody that's left with that. Left with their little sword of confusion or non-clarity or manipulation tactics, whatever it is. And somebody just wants to walk away from that shit. You know, somebody can see that somebody's not really working together. Not really always bringing peace. Somebody's always bringing a little, you know, drama and chaos and confusion. You know, messing with somebody on how they should decide or how they should make a decision or what they need to think about. Why don't you think about this? Trying to keep somebody in confusion land for their own benefit. You know, the Five of Swords is weird. Quite frankly, it's where somebody just isn't a good team player. It's like you think somebody's on your team and you didn't realize they were against you the whole time. It's like a frenemy kind of energy. And that's even shittier if you actually trust somebody. And then you find out, oh, they had their own agenda the whole time? Okay. All right, let's see how that is. So, let me look at this. It does look like somebody is... like it's like a little princess here. It's like she got her little tiara on. But, you know, she's sitting there and then you got this other person kind of looking in. So there, maybe this is even somebody who's behind the scenes. You know, could be somebody way in the background there, has their own agenda, manipulating somebody to do the upfront manipulation. Like saying, this is what you have to do. You know, just do this and you'll be okay. It's almost like, yeah, it's like someone's got a little... like the little negative, you know, lower vibrational energy somewhere going on. They're listening to the wrong, somebody's listening to the wrong person, or they're weighing their ego. And they lose in the end. They lose in the end because a 5 is going to change. And somebody might stand there. It's like, oh, okay, you know what? The trophy's yours. The stuff is yours. I just don't want to be around you anymore. So have fun with that, playing by yourself. Hard to play chess on your own. Maybe you can play with the two sides of your own crazy head. You know, I'm getting that somebody is like back and forth and this energy today. I hope you're enjoying this reading. I knew something needed to come through. And this is not all of your situation. So if this does not fit your situation, it could be giving you clarity on someone else, what they are going through, because it does look like this is kind of a heavy energy. At least at the end here, it kind of started off nice. I do really feel like there's a pretty beautiful couple here. If people were, you know, in their high vibration. If this is upside down, we will flip it around because I do like this upside down. It is having the Mr. or Mrs. Miyagi in your life. It's having that teacher that knows you're smart. They know you're smart. They're not going to take the test for you. You know, they might have a little tactic on how you learn that lesson, but you're going to learn the lesson. You know, just go to the original Karate Kid. I know I'm like aging myself with that. He's like, I don't want to paint the house anymore. He's like, you know, up and down and up. No, round and what is he does? The sand the deck. So, you know, in the end, he's like, I just want to learn karate. I don't want to paint your freaking house and I don't want to sand your deck. And Mr. Miyagi was like, oh yeah, well, what if somebody went like this to you? And all of a sudden He knew if he did that repetitive motion over and 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 over, now it is innately an instinctual movement. So he doesn't have to say, okay, let's do this lesson again, guys. Ready? Go like this. He's like, also, Mr. Miyagi was kind of smart. He's like, dude, kids getting free karate lessons. You know what? At least I'm going to get my house painted. So there wasn't really, it's not really having those foul intentions, even if something was kind of hidden. There is a reason behind the madness, which you end up figuring out later when you're like, oh, that's why I learned the lesson. That's why you had me do that. That's why you saw, you know, the potential in me and you made me do it myself instead of doing it all for me. Because that could have been somebody that went to all those karate lessons, you know, mommy or daddy paid, or you went to your ballet lesson. They're saying plie and plie again and plie again. You know, you're aware that you're doing that to get muscle memory and to get stronger. But this is somebody that's a little more cunning. They're not quite aware of why they're learning the lesson until the lesson is heard loud and clear. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, that was the most amazeballs teacher ever. So it is somebody that's on your side. It's somebody that believes in your mental sharpness, your intelligence, your wit, you know, your creative potential, or even the way that you can plan and organize something. But they want to see you succeed. So they're not going to necessarily make it easy. You know, if they just gave you the answers to the test and you got an A, maybe you're going to, you know, pass that grade. But did you really learn anything? This is somebody that wants to see you do it on your own, or somebody that wants to see somebody really learn because they know they have potential to change their mind. It is a 5, and it is, you know, swords, which are, they represent communication, intelligence, ideas, thoughts, conversations. So there needs to be a change in somebody's mindset, maybe their beliefs, or maybe even the way they saw a situation or past situations. It could even be where somebody comes in and they help somebody by maybe just asking them questions that maybe somebody never asked themselves before, why they were seeing something in a certain manner or in a certain way. And all of a sudden these extra facets are introduced, or somebody goes deep to ask themselves, never even thought about asking myself that, or I never even saw that that thing was right in front of my face. I was just so used to it. Because a lot of times that is like I'm going back to the devil there. That's the really uncomfortable comfort zone where somebody doesn't even know they have the chains on anymore. You know, it's like that. I don't even know if it's kind of real, but it was like a cartoon movie, and it's like they took the elephant and put the chain around its foot and nailed it to the, you know, the nail in the ground. So the elephant thought it was stuck. And then it gets to a certain place where they don't even really need the chain, nor to put it to, you know, the bolt in the ground, because the elephant now just believes it's stuck, where it could just walk away. So I am getting that somebody's starting to see that they weren't as bolted down to a situation as they thought. And maybe somebody does need to walk away. I hope this message was helpful. So with this, I bid you adieu. I gotta get going. Thank you for joining me in all these random I'm like consistently inconsistent here. I like to keep things spicy, you know? You gotta like keep it interesting. So with this, I bid you adieu. Thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for liking this video. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for being here with me, my soul family. I love you so much. I love you, and I look forward to seeing you soon.